I'm going to use this AMMCO brake gauge model 1750 to try and adjust the brakes on this 50 Plymouth. So someone told me this was God's tool, and what we do is we use this tool to check the circumference of these shoes here and try and get them to the same circumference minus 8 thousandths or 10 thousandths from the circumference of the inside of the drum. And because these are on elliptical bolts, when you turn these bolts, these shoes go up and down and in and out. And if you don't have a way to make this circle concentric with this circle, you won't be able to use the full amount of the brake lining. So you need a tool like this, or you can make a tool to do the same thing, and all you have to do is measure this circumference and this circumference, and that's it. So anyhow, top level, what you do is you use this tool and you put it on here and it spins around, and this pin is set up to the diameter of the drum. So what you do is you measure the distance between this pin and the shoe, and it's not a perfect science, but the book says you should use 8 or 10 thousandths. That's dependent on how thick your shoe is left. I mean, how much material you have left. So if you're thin on your shoe here, you might need to use a thicker feeler gauge in between the pin and the shoe. But the whole point of it is to use let's just say a size feeler gauge, and I'm going to use 8 to 15 thousandths, and I'm going to try and get it measured in between the shoe and the pin at the top. So I got some friction there, and then I'm going to do it. You can't adjust it here really in the center, but I'm going to go to the end and do it, and I have some friction here. So using this tool, which is already set up to be the same diameter as this drum, I've got this shoe concentric with this drum. So hopefully, after we've measured these and adjusted this in and out to make it so that the feeler gauge goes in, hopefully we should be able to put the drum straight on. And we pre-tested it so we know it works. So there's the God's tool, otherwise known as the AMMCO brake gauge 1750. So we'll check this side too, which we haven't checked. And I'm going to throw an 8 thousandths in there. And this one's, it's touching. This is pretty good. So that's pretty darn close right there at 8 thousandths. Can't really adjust it in the center, so that doesn't matter. And I'm going to go to the end. And darn it, this one's 8 thousandths too. 8, 9 thousandths, it's a little loose, but anyhow, so using the tool, we know this circle is now concentric with this shaft. So it's the same distance from here to here as it is to here to here, here to here. So if this thing's perfectly round, that means we should be adjusted like this shoe should be almost touching the drum all the way around, so that you can use up a full amount of the shoe here for braking. So if you look at this one, these are new shoes that have been driven on 150 miles or so. And if you look, it looks like previously, before adjusting them with the God's tool here, that this here was touching the drum and this was not. You'll see how that's a brand new shoe right there. And we have the same scenario on this side. So hopefully by adjusting them, the whole shoe will touch the drum, thereby giving what, another 25% braking, or at least 20% compared to here. That's probably a quarter. Anyhow, so that's the point of using this tool. It makes it a little bit faster too. I mean, we've only been out here an hour, doing all this. I did it without having a tool before, and it took me a month, dude, because I had to take it off and try it again, and I just had no way to measure. So get a tool like this, or put this on here, put your nut on, go get an extra nut, put your nut on, and weld on a piece of rod that goes up and over so you can test the circumference here. It's not a big deal. I got a good deal on the tool, so I bought the tool. Anyhow, so if we put this on, I'm going to do it without the cotter pin. Look at that, it actually goes on. It goes on. So that should be very close, like it's barely touching. So now you do, that's called the major adjustment if you look in the book. The minor adjustment is using the adjusters out here, and you just adjust them out. The shoes, you adjust them out to just barely touch the wall, and they should be pretty darn close. Yeah, it's already touching. Oops, that's probably too much. Yeah. So now we know by adjusting that out like that, we know that this shoe is touching the drum, and then we adjust it so it's just a hair in, so it's not rubbing continuously. And we do that on this side, and this one should be pretty darn close at this point. There we go. There you go. So it's touching now, so I'm going to back it up just a hair. So you can barely hear it touching. That's probably how I would leave it right there. Just maybe adjust it a little bit out, because we can always adjust it to. Anyhow, I think this one's good to go. We'll double check it after we put it all back together.